Welcome, everyone. We'll just start in a minute or two. We just like to give a little time after the top of the hour for people to join, since that usually is the case. So thank you for joining early and on time, and we will be with you shortly. Thanks, everyone. We're going to start in 1 minute. Hello, welcome everyone, and welcome to Cyber TuneUp. My name is Michael Kaiser. I'm the president and CEO of Defending Digital Campaigns, and I'll be one of your trainers today, along with Betty Fleming, who's our Director of Support and Onboarding. But before we dive right into the content, just a couple of little preliminaries here to get us going. First of all, DDC is a nonpartisan organization. This is a nonpartisan training. There could be attendees of various viewpoints here. So just please be respectful of participants in the chat, and just keep your comments to the content at hand here, which is all about cybersecurity. A little note about the chat. The chat, as you see, Betty and Ashton, who's our training coordinator, and myself have all put little comments in there. That's public. So everything you can say there is going to be seen by everyone on the training today. The Q&A is actually private. So if you have a specific question you want to ask us, or you don't want other people to see, you can ask it there, and Betty and I will try to get back to you either during the training, or we'll take some time afterward if there's some questions to answer them. Just a little bit about us, DDC, in case you don't know us. We are a nonpartisan, non-aligned, nonprofit organization. We have an FEC advisory opinion that allows us to provide free cybersecurity products and services to eligible federal campaigns and committees. In 2020, we provided service to more than 180 campaigns, and we've given away more than $2 million in product to date. Eligibility for federal campaigns is around how much money they've raised. So for the House, it's 50. For the Senate, it's 100,000. And then national committees, DNC, RNC, NRSC, NRSC, et cetera, and state parties with some limitations. At the end, I'll come back and I'll tell you a little bit about how to contact us if you think you're eligible. But all our trainings are open for everyone, anyone in the political sector, any campaign, up and down the ballot, all more than welcome to come to our training and use all our resources, which we'll share some through the training today. So here's what we're going to cover today. I'm not going to go into this great detail, but we call this a cyber tune-up, right? We want to make sure that people are using the best available security that they have on the most common services that they use, and that's really the goal of this training. So we're going to start this training on looking at how to protect accounts, right? Your username, your password, the credentials that you use to get into your accounts are the keys to your kingdom, right? These are the most important cybersecurity defenses you have, is how well you protect your logins and your accounts. Our strongest recommendation is always, if possible, and you can't do this everywhere, is to use a security key. It's the best way to protect your accounts. Now, you've heard this called different things, MFA called different things, right? For including multi-factor authentication is one of them, or two-factor authentication, or two-step verification, right? So these are all the different ways we talk about what we like to call strong authentication. And they're not all the same. Keys are the highest form of authentication that we have, the strongest. Then there are things like authenticator apps, right, which are also really good. And then we're all pretty common now, the SMS text, somebody says, oh, I'm going to send you a text and put it in so you get in your account. That is a form of MFA. It is, however, the least secure form of MFA and only should be used, where you really have no other choice, right? So, sorry, jumped a little bit ahead there. So I'm going to turn it over to Betty now, and she's going to start to walk you through some of these things. Hey, welcome, Betty. We're so glad to have you.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. As Michael mentioned, I'm Betty, and I'm the Director of Support and Onboarding, which means that I'm in charge of taking all of these technical aspects of cybersecurity and making them super easy and user-friendly, which they are. For these demos, we suggest watching closely rather than trying to follow along. We'll send you a copy of this afterwards and you can pause and follow along at your own pace. But it's always good to just watch the way everything comes together first so you have an idea when you're doing it yourself. And I also want to mention that any of the email addresses we use here are created for this webinar. Don't email us there. We won't respond, but we will provide an email address and ways to reach us at the end of this. So with that, let me get started. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. So we're going to start with setting up multi-factor authentication for Google, which we'll do by enrolling in Google Advanced Protection Program, or Google APP as we call it. Google APP is the best form of protection for your Google Workspace or personal Google accounts, and it prevents against account hacking, phishing attempts. It filters out dangerous malware attachments and links, stuff like that. So for all MFA demos, we're going to be using our physical security key. As Michael mentioned, if you don't have a physical security key, you can still choose one of the other options. So I'm going to start by Googling Google Advanced Protection. Now I'm going to click on the first link. And you can also type in google.com/advanced protection into your URL. Now I'll click the Get Started button in the top right corner. Now I will click Enroll. Now I will enter my password. I will enter my correct password. I will, sorry about that. Let me find my password, which will show you password managers in a second. There you go. So there's a couple different options I have here. This screen will look different depending on what type of account you have. If you have a Google personal account, it will prompt you through using your physical security key first. And because I have a Google Workspace account, it's prompting me through using my phone's built-in key first. And then also because I have an iPhone, it will prompt me through downloading the Google Smart Lock app, which I already have installed. If I had an Android, it wouldn't prompt me through adding anything. So I'm going to now click Enroll. I'm going to click Finish Enrollment. And that's it. I'm already enrolled in Google Advanced Protection Program with one key used as verification. because it's important to have a backup key, I'm going to show you how to use a second key. So we're going to use my physical security key, my YubiKey or my Titan key. And now I will click, I already have a key. Enter my password, which I now remember. Click next. Going to scroll down a little bit to where it says your security keys and click add security key. I just got a pop-up, I don't know if you guys can see it, that says insert a key and touch it. So I'm going to do as instructed. And now it's asking me to name my key. You can name it anything, just don't name it your actual name for security purposes. I'm going to name mine Yubi because it is a YubiKey and I want to remember that I'm using my YubiKey. So I'll click next. I'll click next again. And this is going to prompt you through adding your key to your phone and logging into your email account or your workspace account on your phone. So you'll have that logged in. So I'll follow the instructions and click next. Click next again. And that's it. I now have my phone added as my first way of verification and my YubiKey as my second. And again, as you can see, it's really going to take you through step by step. It's going to completely guide you along the way. It's really hard to miss a step or do something wrong there. And if I wanted, I could click add security key and I could keep adding security keys, excuse me, as backups of each other. That way I could leave one at my, sorry, dry California air. I can keep, I could leave one at my desk and take one with me. And that way, if I go to use another device, I'll have my key to get into my account. So that is MFA on my Google account. Now I am going to switch over and show you that on Microsoft. So switching my screen. And then I have my Edge account pulled up. Hopefully you guys can see it. Looks like you can. Okay, so I'm going to start by logging into my Microsoft account. And then once I'm logged in, I'm going to go to the top right and click my profile icon. Now I'll click Manage Profile Settings. Now I'll click Manage Account. Now at the top, I'll click Security. Sign in again. Now I'll click Advanced Security Options. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to where it says two-step verification and I will click Turn On. I'm going to click Next. And as you can see, as Michael mentioned, there's a few different methods of verification. An app would definitely be the strongest one. An alternate email or phone number, we would not suggest as much to use one of those, but you can install the app and you can add that as a method of verification. So I'm not going to go through that right now, but you would just click Get It Now, and like Google Chrome, it would take you through setting it up step by step, really detailed depending on your device. So now I'm going to go back into security, back into advanced, scroll down a little bit to where it says ways to prove who you are. I'll click add a new way to sign in or verify at the bottom. And then again, you can see a few different options. Our suggested options would be use an app or use a security key. So I'll click use a security key. It's a USB device, so I'll click next. I'm going to enter the key and touch it as instructed. And again, you guys might not be able to see these pop-ups because they're technically another window, but I'm going to click USB security key. And this part, it's asking me to create a PIN. You don't have to have this isn't a PIN that you've already created. You're creating a new PIN to identify this key. I'll click next. Just waiting for it to register. It's asking me to name it once again. I will name this UV2. Click next. And I'm all set. It's that easy. I now have my two-factor authentication set up as well as my security key registered. So with that, Michael is going to talk a little bit about password managers while I get ready for the next demo.
Thanks, Betty. Yeah, so as you can see, just by Betty's demo, the passwords are still the bane of our existence in our online lives, right? And there's a couple things about passwords to remember. One is they're just not, the whole system was not created to be parallel with the human experience, right? I mean, we're just not good as people for remembering long strings of numbers and letters, uppercase, lowercase, and symbols for multiple accounts. It's just not what we're good at, right, as humans. And so the whole system of trying to teach people to create all that is really difficult. And I don't have to tell you whether your passwords are long and strong. You know that right away. So what we really tell people is you've just got to do better with passwords, and you've got to use a password manager if you're not. They offer really great protection. They generate these secure passwords for you. They remember them for you, which is really the most difficult part of the whole process, right? And they come in a lot of different varieties and flavors. There are commercial products like LastPass that we have a deal for campaigns that we can get it for free, or 1Password's another highly used password manager that a lot of people like, but there's a ton of them out there. We don't really recommend individual product over another. That's not our business. But however, many of you might not be aware that you have password managers already built in to the browsers that you're using, whether it's Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, right? Right there, you have a password manager that's available to you directly after this training to start creating complex passwords for all your accounts. So we really encourage you to go where the least friction is and get started with a password manager. So I'm going to hand it back over to Betty. You ready?
Yep. Thanks, Michael. Okay, so we are going to start with Microsoft Edge's password manager, and I'm just going to give you a brief rundown of how it works. So as you can see, I have my Chewy account pulled up. I'm going to go to sign into it. And as you can see, my credentials auto-populate in here. This is because I'm using Microsoft Edge's password manager, and it's turned on to auto-populate passwords. I can click on the credentials and hover over it, and this will take me to my password center where I can click Manage Passwords. In here, I can offer to save passwords. Scroll down a little bit, you'll see where my passwords were saved. I can edit them in here, delete them. I'll click More Settings. And I can also have it suggest strong passwords. So if you can't come up with that strong, long password yourself, Microsoft Edge will do it for you, and then we'll auto-save it and auto-populate it. So now moving on to Google Chrome's password manager. I'm going to switch my screen. Share that. Hopefully everyone can see that. Looks like you can. Okay, and once again, I'm going to demonstrate on my Chewy account. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually LastPass. I'm going to do Google Chrome in a minute, but this is actually LastPass. So LastPass is one of our partners for eligible campaigns. Unlike Microsoft Edge and Google Chrome, it's not automatically built into your browser, but it can be added as a browser extension. So I can click this extension icon on the top right, And once it's added, I can see it in there. So going to my sign in area, you can see that my credentials are not auto-populating. That's because I'm not logged into my LastPass account. So I'll go up here to my browser extensions, click on LastPass, and I will log into LastPass here. And the good thing about LastPass is that it's essentially one password that you have to remember, and that will get you access to all of the rest of your passwords. So log in. And as you can see, once I logged in, my password has auto-populated in here. And it will do the same thing as Edge, where it offers to save your password. You can also access LastPass's vault by clicking on the browser extension, clicking on LastPass, clicking on Open My Vault. And you can see everything's nice and organized in here. I've got my different accounts. I've got my sharing center. So the sharing center is something that's really beneficial if you have LastPass teams. LastPass teams allows you to create shared folders and share them with your team members and set who has access to them. There is also this star icon, which will take you to your security dashboard, where it will monitor your passwords and it will give you a security score based on how good your passwords are, essentially, how long and strong your passwords are. So that is LastPass, and now we will move over to Google Chrome. So I'm going to use my Facebook account to demonstrate. As you can see, once again, let me log out of LastPass here. So as you can see, my credentials are not auto-populating here. Once again, it is because they aren't saved into my Google Chrome password manager. So I'm going to type them in. And then once I type them in, you'll see this key icon on the top right in your URL. You can click on that to save your password. And it will also allow you to update your password if you have one that's already saved. That key icon will still appear and it will let you update the password. So I'm going to click log in. And then you can also see most of the time, almost all the time, a pop-up will come up and that will prompt you to save or update your password. So that is actually, let me go, and then I'll show you Google Chrome's password manager from the inside. So going back to my Google account, I'll click on this grid icon. I'll click account. I will click security. Sorry, I have a loud cat. I will scroll down a little bit. A lot. I will click password manager. And in here, you can see, similar to Edge, all your passwords are saved. You can edit them, delete them, change them. Something else that's great is you can do a password checkup. So click password checkup, check passwords, enter your password, click next. And you can see it will evaluate your password. So it will tell you if you have any compromised passwords, if you have any reused passwords, like, oops, I have the same password for both of these, which is not a good idea. And then if you have any weak passwords. And then going back a little more into Google security, something else that's really helpful is when you click see details in the security center, it will do an overall security of your security check of your account. So it will tell you which devices you've got signed in. It will tell you your recent activity, if advanced protection's on, and your saved passwords. So it's definitely really helpful to do that every now and then to evaluate your security. Okay, so that was passwords. Now Michael's going to talk a little about protecting social media accounts.
Thanks, Betty. Noodle is Betty's cat, and I think she saw you being on Chewy and was wondering why you hadn't ordered any toys.
That's
So
correct.
we'll have to take that up later in a later discussion. So, we focused in the first part of this training a lot on sort of these, these core accounts you have, right? Your Microsoft account, your Gmail account, which is obviously access to your documents and your contacts and a lot of other things that you might do. Same with Microsoft, you might have, OneDrive and all those things connected into your account. And so that's why obviously we want you to, harden those as much as you can. But you also have to look at your other accounts as well. And certainly most of you, if not all of you, are either using social personally and or some of you may be using social on behalf of your campaign or organization. If it's something like Facebook, you may be joining your campaign or organization's Facebook group through your personal account on Facebook. That's the way we do it, right? On Twitter, you may be using like a shared password or that kind of environment. In either case, we really want to make sure that you remember to protect these accounts because bad actors trying to influence a campaign or disrupt the campaign will look at these accounts as good places to go, right? If I can get into your candidate or your organization's Facebook page or Twitter feed, there's a lot of damage I can do, with misinformation or disinformation or embarrassing content around what you're trying to do. So we really feel it's important that people remember to extend strong protections out to other accounts. And we're just talking about social right here today, but things like keys and authenticator apps are available across a wide range of internet services, including things like Dropbox and others. And these keys, by the way, can be used. They're not just for one product or the other. They're what's known as FIDO compliant, which means they can be used in multiple different accounts and services across the internet. That's one of the reasons why they're so powerful and so good. So let me send it back over to Betty, and she'll take you through some quickly how to get these core accounts secure.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, so we are going to start with securing your Facebook page account. You can start by logging into your account. This is my dashboard. Yours will probably look a lot busier than this. And then once you're in, you want to go to the top right corner to this little drop down arrow. And then you want to click Settings and Privacy. Then you'll want to click Settings. Go over to the left and click Security and Login. Scroll down a little bit to where it says Two-Factor Authentication. Click Edit over to the right. So as you can see, again, there are several methods of verification you can choose from. Our top suggestions would be an authentication app if you don't have a key, and or a security key. So I will click Use Security Key. I'm going to insert the key as instructed and click Register Security Key. I'm going to click USB Security Key. I'm going to insert it and touch the gold spot as instructed. Okay, and that is it. Two-factor authentication is now on for my Facebook page with my physical security key set up as my method of verification. So now we are going to move over to Twitter. So once again, you can see that I'm already logged into my Twitter account. I'm going to go over to the left and click More. Now I'm going to click Settings and Privacy. Now I'm going to click Security and Account Access. Now I'm going to click on the right, Security. Now I'll click two-factor authentication. And once again, we would prefer or suggest you to use an authentication app or a security key rather than text message. So I will click security key, enter my password, which I have saved into Google Chrome. So it's auto-populating, so I'm not going to waste your time trying to figure out what my password is again. I will click get started. I'm now going to click add key. I will choose USB key. I don't know if you can see this pop up, but I will choose USB key. I'm being instructed to insert it and touch the gold spot. I'm going to give it a name. This is my Titan key, so I will name it Tidy1. I'll click next. And I will click got it. So that's it. We're all set. I now have MFA set up on my Twitter account with my physical security key. So that is it from me, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to hand it back to Michael in a second. We'll stick around and answer some questions if you want to type them in. Sorry about my very noisy cat. It's work from home life. But yeah, ask your questions and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, well, life happens, that's for sure. Yeah, so just quickly here, we'll close it out very quickly. Just a couple things to be aware of. First of all, as Betty said, you will get a copy of this video. It will come to you automatically because you're registered for the training. So if you want to walk through some of the stuff step by step, you can do it. We also have this incredibly robust resource, DDC's knowledge base, where you can see here, it's at defendcampaigns.org/resources. All this information is in there as well. Some of the step-by-step instructions are in there as well. There's also a ton of information about how to protect a campaign or an organization. And basically, it's designed for you. It's designed as a help desk for the political sector. And the content is made relevant to you. It's really a way for you to shortcut having to go there and like search for how do I turn on a key, right? And get 900 responses, you know, from CNET articles and Google and then other folks. It's like cut to the chase. We take you right to what you need to know. We're very proud of this resource. We think you'll find it extremely helpful, and we encourage you to visit it. So just, you know, back to that eligibility question. If you think you're eligible for any of our services for free, you can just email us at info@defendcampaigns.org. We'll double check your campaign and we'll make sure that you're eligible. And if you are, we'll reach right back out to you. And that will usually result in a call with Betty. And Betty will go through what your campaign is currently doing and some recommendations about what you might do, how to get those products ordered. And if you're having trouble getting them in place, Betty can do just like she's doing today here. She can help you get those products up and running. You can follow us at Defend Campaigns on Twitter. We keep people posted about lots of things there. Of course, we're on Facebook and visit our website. So that's it for today. We're happy to answer questions. Hang around for a little bit if anybody has any. And we really appreciate you coming. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ashton. Ashton just dropped a survey in here. It would be really helpful to us if you would click on that survey. It's really short. It's like 5 questions, and just really give us a little feedback. We really try to be iterative in the way we develop training, and we take our user feedback extremely seriously. I mean, our goal is to be helpful to you, not to just tell you what we think you need to know. So please fill out the survey, and that would be helpful. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Betty. I really appreciate it. And we hope to see you future. We have upcoming trainings that are more broad around like cybersecurity essentials for everyone. And we have a couple coming up in the next few months, and there'll be more added to the calendar all the time. And you can find those at our website. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.